Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I hope we're all well. Hey, Shardy. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Caroline. And yeah, I hope, Caroline, you get to be left in peace, because if you don't know anything about light codes, then I think tonight we have the lady who will give you more insight into that. And good evening, Caroline. Hope we're all well. So tonight we've got a very, very dear friend of ours. We've known her for a fair few years doing the events and festivals, and yeah, we knew her by her hugs. She was such a huggable person, and so we are missing those hugs at this moment in time. So yes, and hello, Pauline. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Joe, my lovely friend. Absolutely. So, yeah, if we're all ready, I would love to welcome on board our tonight's special guest, who is going to talk a bit about light codes, the 5D, and a little bit about sound healing. But we're going to go with the flow, see what comes in, see what goes out. And guys, if you've got your questions, stack them up and I'll bring them to our lovely guest. So please welcome the lovely Suzy Grace.
Hello, lovelies.
Hello.
Hello, lovelies. I'm really great, thank you. How are you, sweetheart?
Good. Are we okay? Because beforehand, we did have a little 15-minute catch up before we went on live chatting. And I completely forgot that this beautiful lady did sound healing. So while we were sitting relaxed, bringing our breathing in and just feeling tonight, I was like, oh, get your tools out. So while that banner was going on for 15 minutes, this poor lady was rummaging getting her equipment out. So,
yes.
Yeah. Hilary Stanley. Hi, Dan and Suzy. Belinda's saying hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Dan, Adam, and Suzy. Adam is on the settee next to me. He's a little bit more behind the scenes than my Holly to my Phil. So, Suzy, we've known you for quite a few years. But there might be some people out there who don't know you. And I always ask at the beginning, just to give us a bit of background for people. How did Suzy get onto the spiritual path?
Okay, so thank you, and thanks for inviting me. It's great, and thank you for everybody joining us this evening. Yeah, it means a lot. Thank you. So how did I get onto the path? So as with a lot of people, sometimes your opening to that spiritual pathway can be through a crisis, and that certainly happened to me way back, a long time ago, 27 years ago actually, which makes me feel ancient.
You must have only been about 2.
Well, no. I won't tell you how old, but anyway. So I was in a bit of a tricky relationship, and it wasn't a good one. So my spiritual journey began on a retreat with the National Federation of Spiritual Healers, and it changed my life. It made me open to the possibility of stepping into knowing that I deserved more than what was happening in my life at that time. And from there, it's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster. So I've always felt that there was something more. And as a child, now that I know, you don't know then, but now I know, I had a room full of spiritual friends, which I used to chat with. I was raised alone. And my friends were in the spiritual realm, so it goes way back. But that was my the crisis was my opening to there. And then I just, I've learnt lots of different healing modalities. Some I've kept, some have been part of that journey, you know, we let things go, so to speak. Yeah. Everything's been useful, you know, it's all been great. And it's really, I just went with the flow of everything and progressed through those realms of spiritual healing, into the Reiki, so all the levels of Reiki to master teacher. And I've done Shambhala multidimensional healing, crystal healing, colour therapy was a big one as well, with a beautiful lady that used to be in Totnes. So there's been lots of over the years, but of course it's all vibrational healing. So the pathway then has taken me forward, which culminated really in doing, you know, the fairs and the festivals. I broke into doing the reading side of things as well, which I love to do. For me, it's not about fortune telling, but I generally find that readings are quite healing for people. So they're totally bespoke. I do work with tarot and other oracle cards, but it's what's right for that person at that time, you know. So the work that I do is very bespoke. My path has also taken me into the realms of the death and the dying, which I've always found very interesting, and dealt with death from a very early age of 4. So I trained to be a soul midwife as well. So that's kind of end of life practitioner, which is very interesting stuff.
That is because, very, gosh, like you've got to be made of some substance to do that.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
It's a thing. Yeah. But I've never had a fear around death. Like I said, you know, right from a very early age, death has been around, but it's never, ever bothered me. Yeah. It's, I mean, we know that. Yeah.
There's a chapter, there's a next phase.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, my belief and experience is that we're just letting that physical body go, you know, and the soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, because we've all got words, different language, haven't we, for different things, but that spirit lives on. I believe that because you're just in another dimension. So that came in. And then also the other side of it a little bit was the sacred celebrant work as well. So I trained to be a celebrant, and then, as I do with most of the things, go my way from the heart and take what I've learned and my guidance, then take that forward. So doing the celebrancy work involves doing wedding blessings, naming ceremonies, and funerals as well. So that tied in with the end of life work as well. Which is good. But I love a good wedding. It's fantastic. I love the work. I thought I would have had two couples cancel this year. One did have to, and we've put that towards next year, fingers crossed. But I was very lucky to do a couple of mine last month up in Somerset, and because they've got their own farm and land, they were able to just do their thing.
Because this is the good thing about you and your line of work, and being that, because you don't need a building, you don't need a church, you don't need structure. You could be like, well, hey, let's go into a forest, let's go onto something that means something for you too, and we can do it there and then.
Absolutely. And for anybody that might have a question over that as well, because I've been asked, can I do the legal part? No, I'm not a registrar. So generally what happens is that my couples, unless they're having a hand fasting, because I can do, you know, anything from very, and it's again completely bespoke. So we can be traditional, we can, you know, do it on the pagan side of things. You know, we can do it however, or a mixture. Or traditional, whatever really. So I don't have a script. We write that together when I'm doing a wedding blessing. So the legal side of it, generally what I've found is most couples will go off, pop along to the register office.
That's what we did.
Do the paperwork. They've done the legals, but it's not their wedding day. You know, they can exchange rings.
That's
wonderful.
That's the way. And we even, because we had a bit of a mishmash. We had, we went on the Tuesday for our legal day. Our two mums were our witnesses, and we even used our engagement rings.
Yeah.
Our engagement rings were the rings we were doing then. Because it was my crystal teacher. This is why we didn't ask you, and we didn't even know you then, Suzy. Like,
probably not. No.
How times would be now if we did it now. It'd be amazing.
I'm sure it was amazing anyway. Darling.
And it was my crystal teacher who did it, which was really meaningful because we had such a connection with her. And it was bespoke. And the Saturday with all the family, that was our wedding day. And we exchanged our wedding rings there, and we had a hand fasting. So
lovely.
You guys, I love, and I love to promote the guys that do that, because it is, because we could have had the registrar there and we could have had the legal bit first, and then you guys come on. But to have the registrar there, I think it's like 570 quid. Whereas you go
a lot.
To the registrar and it's 70 quid, and it's like, let's go for that. Do that bit, because that was important to us. The important thing was celebrating our beliefs and having our family with us, and making everything personal to us. So I love the work that you guys do, because it is bespoke, and it's it's
lovely. I mean, you know, there are lots of different celebrants that work in, you know, their own ways. And I did look into kind of going down the road of being part of a larger body of people, you know, to kind of work alongside or be with. But in actual fact, what I found was when I looked into that, because I wanted to create a ceremony, whatever kind of ceremony, even a funeral, a celebration of end of life, as I'd rather put it. When you're with other people, there are rules and guidelines, and you've got to stick to, this is the format, and this is, but I wanted to really heartfully create with my couple, or for the family, or, you know, for the child, you know, whatever ceremony it is. And it's amazing to actually be a small, tiny part on somebody's special day is very joyful. Or even giving a tribute to somebody, you know, that somebody's lost, somebody's loved one. And it's great work. It is great work. I absolutely love it. Even better when you get asked to, especially with a wedding blessing, to stay and have food and have a glass of champers, and that's, you know, that little token afterwards is, you know, that you've done your job, and, you know, it's not just a job. It's a heartfelt ceremony. So
that's beautiful.
So that's thrown in as well, and then life, as life does, takes a turn, as we're all in that at the moment anyway, aren't we, for one degree or another. There was a complete surrender of things, but I'd started to kind of work into sound healing, and so my healing sessions were morphing, probably over the last 2 to 3 years, when I travelled to India, and my little trusty singing bowl.
I love singing bowls.
So that was They're gorgeous. Well, this chose me, but when I was traveling in India, I kind of thought, oh, this is what I would like to, if it's possible, find one, and of course it did. So that kind of set me on the path, so to speak, and then it's grown. So I'm the drum, of course. There's always been a drum.
I was about to say, it's growing. I can see a drum behind you hanging up.
Yeah, there's a couple actually.
There's two up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. sound does. It's a, you got the crystals and you got the shiny, brighty crystals, and you're like, oh, you can see why they draw you in.
Yeah.
But sound is a different, to hear that and to hear how that sound comes in and makes you feel, it's just
it's incredible. Yeah, but again, it's it's all vibration, and so what I found was moving away from the more kind of hands-on therapies that I guess been used to doing, moving into being a hands-off, but just working with these beautiful sacred tools, and whatever I felt was kind of brought into the toolbox, so intuitively whatever came in, and doing training. So it's kind of grown, and I'm sure it may, other things may morph in as well, but putting them together and doing a sound healing session on either on a one-to-one or in a group situation is just amazing. And without, I'm not going to say, well, I was going to say without any interference from me, I'm not interfering anyway, but without the hands-on and just working with the instruments and the voice and whatever is channeled through in a pure, bespoke session, if it's a one-to-one, it's incredible how people report back what they can feel, where they felt it, and how they feel afterwards as well. And then continuing what shifts and changes. So I see it's a marvelous tool to help us shift any blocks, any density, that we may be holding, that, we probably, I would say, need to need's not the right word, but to let go of in order to, be all that we can be, really, So yeah, vibrational tools are amazing.
They are so good.
Yeah.
So good. So the singing bowl found you.
Yes.
I think
4 years ago.
Was there?
Yeah, wow. 2016. In fact, it's 6 years ago. Is it 6 years ago? What we 2020? No, it was 2014. My apologies. Wow. 2014, because it's 6 years ago to the time frame that I was actually in India. So the memories come up as they do on Facebook. The memories are always here because I had such an amazing time, nearly 6 weeks of traveling. So the singing bowl, found its way to me. And that really piqued my interest into, the sound side of things. And the shamanic rattle. I mean, I've got a few things here. You've asked me to get out, so I was rummaging.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go through them. Absolutely.
Do you want me to?
Rattle.
So this is shamanic rattle. I've got to watch because the reflection. I've got to make sure I'm putting it in the right direction. My apologies.
You're fine. I can see it.
So I've never really been interested in a rattle until this. And I've had some personal work. I don't know if you can see, but there is, I've got to put it the other way, Suzy. The snakes on, and then you've got, I just fell in love with the pattern when I saw it. And it's actually
like flower of life,
but it's the ayahuasca flower.
Oh.
Okay, and the snake as probably a lot of people will know, is about that transformation, you know, because the snake sheds its skin. So it is moving and allowing things to be let go of, released, in order to move into the new. So it's about transformation. So I've had personal work with a beautiful lady called Charlotte Gush, as some people might be aware of. And I love her. She's the personal work I've done with her has been fantastic. Her group work is also fantastic. And we've got a lovely group that we get together with called the It's a Wise Women's World on Facebook. Anybody can join in if they're women. No disrespect, but we are gathering the ladies. It's not a feminist group, but it's a loving and supporting group for women. So anyway, going back to Charlotte, so she'd been to Peru, and she brought a few little goodies back with her, and she put a picture up. And I've not the shamanic side of life. I have done a practitioner's course, but it was more connected to the North American Indians. I feel that's where my connection is, and my original guides were Native American. So I was never drawn to the southern side of the shamanic work, but actually when the picture came up, I was like mesmerized, and I said, I've got no idea, but anyway, it chose me. So and the work with it, people report back. I mean, I know that when I work with it, I have whether you want to call it a spirit guide or an essence, an energy that works through me and takes more or less complete over and does the work. So again, whatever that person needs, we're going to have, kind of feeling. So there's a very strong energy that works through the rattle. So that's. And
do you use it just like a rattle? Do you just shake it, or do you start from the head, work down, or is it like where the runner steps in directs you to where the rattle needs?
It's kind of once I'm in that space and open that up, it's kind of going where I'm led to. So I listen to that intuition and go where I'm guided. So the rattle we could start off with kind of a little bit of a beat. I know that a lot of people will use rattle for journeying, and Charlotte does use rattle for journeying. As you can use the drum as well. So it could be a little bit of a beat, which could end up with very vigorous shaking when I've been completely taken over and probably look like a complete loony, but we don't care because we know that the work that's been done at that point, is quite profound. So I can be shaking all over the place with it. I go where I feel I need to. It tends to release. So it will open. So it will open energy. It will open chakras. It breaks open those cells where any density is held. In order for that to be released, to bring back that natural homeostasis, so that, because that's, what we're meant to be. So that's what I find. And people report back, oh my goodness, the rattle seemed to, one client described it this way, seemed to release all of my cells and atoms, and it felt like they were floating all above me, out in like the auric field, the energy space. And it felt like it was just like that I'm doing with the hands, that all the energy was coming out. And then when it settled back in, it seemed to settle back in a much better way and more harmonious vibration.
Oh my
And I
God.
thought that was lovely because
That's a
I can
great
feel
way.
that. Yeah.
That is a great way because, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously any blockages or anything isn't going to let things fit like a jigsaw.
Mm,
So with that rattle,
yeah.
things go, and as they
Yeah.
open up, those things are go. And then when it
Yeah.
comes back in, it
Yeah.
all fits in and
Yeah.
has a
Yeah.
place.
And then
That's a
what I
great
tend to do after that then is use a different rattle. So I've got probably 3 more, not the same, but different sounds, different instruments.
So you're somebody who wasn't into a rattle, and you've got
No.
4 rattles?
Well, yeah, the others are, I've got a couple of small shakers, and the other one, I can't reach it at the moment, but it's kind of a V shape. So yeah, and they're kind of, I know that one does the work, and then the other ones are the softer energy, which help then to settle all that, back in.
Round it all back
So
in.
yeah, it's an amazing tool,
Yeah,
spiritual
so
tool. It is.
to be fair, I've never been drawn to a rattle because
No.
you do go, well, apart from shaking it,
Yeah.
it's a bit,
Mhm.
babies
What do I
use
do with
rattles.
it? Yeah.
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 But hearing
Mhm.
you talking about that, I might be on the hunt for a
Mm.
rattle. I might find something that rattles.
Yeah. It's amazing, and you think, how can these tools, whether it's the rattle, the rain stick, the healing pipes, the other things I've got, how can something so simple create such a shift and
Mm,
change? And
mm.
it is amazing. It just does. It just is. So
But then it
mm,
also just rectifies that all we need are the simple things,
mhm.
because the
Yeah,
simple things make the bigger impact of our
yeah,
lives and the
yeah,
bigger changes.
yeah.
So yeah, why some
Hmm.
people are going off trying to get the peak of the mountain and to get everything, the person that's just got the one thing will
Hmm.
touch you more than the person that's got it all.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. It doesn't figure that, you need to have the biggest, the best, and I guess with anything, Dan, it does come down to your love and your intention always,
mhm,
with whatever that you're working with. So as you know me, but that's always there. The love and intention, integrity,
absolutely.
authenticity.
And it
But
means a lot to have that. And you know, if the people that we've had on these shows, they're only on here because of that word, integrity.
mm,
If they've not got that integrity, you're not on my
yeah,
page,
it
because
yeah,
it means a lot to work in that, and you can see when people work from that.
it's really important, isn't it? I mean, we've all been in the outer trappings, let's say, of the light and bright and the spiritual and all of that. But at the end of the day, that aside, what
Mm.
matters is where you're coming from.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think any work that you do, then whatever your direction is, then if as long as that's there, then
it's a brilliant platform to work from,
mm,
and you attract the people that need the
yeah,
work.
what you
You
do, yeah,
attract those that need it, not
yeah,
those that just want it for because they can or they can afford
mm,
it. The people who come to you are those who are like, yeah, you stop them from
yeah.
going to the charlatans because your light shines the brightest, and they're attracted to that light. So
Well, I
yeah,
think it's about, it's about helping that person or people, group. I mean, I said, talked about one-to-ones really, but the group work is amazing.
I
Um,
love group work. I mean, I gave up my one-to-ones. I don't do
yeah.
one-to-one healings. All my couch got donated to the centre where I do my workshops.
Mm,
Because the
it's the
groups,
way.
It's the light bulb moment, and it's just that I much rather work with a group of people.
A dozen people. Yes, absolutely. And I love it. I love, in fact, I've got a group. Yay, I can't wait. Next weekend, on the 25th, I think it's the Sunday. I'm going up anyway, sorry, that's mine stuff now. Dates and times and so I'm going up to Sanger House, which is in Taunton. They like me to go up and put on a couple of sound immersions each year, and they're absolutely, I love doing them, amazing, and the feedback, what people have taken from it is great. Obviously, because of restrictions, we've got a smaller group, but we're making it work, and I'm so happy that I can go up and do that next weekend. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then
it's one of the best things at the moment. The positive things about doing the smaller groups is those people are going to benefit so much more being in that smaller group, because they get to have a little bit more of Suzy than if there was a larger group. So
it's amazing. The only downside for me is I probably won't be allowed. I've got to keep within guidelines. I like to kind of go round people, and I always intuitively get a sense of what somebody's needing, even if we're in a group of, I think the last group was 16. I get a sense of where somebody's needing some work, or I mean, I don't particularly plan that may happen. So I might feel that the drum is really working with somebody, or the healing pipes might be, or so I can do that a little bit more. Whereas this next weekend, it's got to be I've got to keep the central aisle, and just kind of work up and down with the people, but they've generally got their heads into the central circle, so it's quite good. But so the group works really nice. I love that. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find a way to bring the Suzy touch into it. You will.
Oh, I will.
You'll find a way. Suzy will get in there. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So after the rattle.
Yes. Okay. So I did show you the singing bowl, but I mean, for those people that like singing bowls, I don't know how the sound will transmute because I've got the headphones on, but that's just gentle, really. But yeah.
Wow, that's.
I love this because if I stop it. So always, right from the very beginning, sometimes, I mean, I've tried singing bowls in the past, and sometimes it's difficult to get them working. I don't know if you've, I
got told that your bowl sings to you.
It does, yeah.
And that's what I got told, and it's true. I mean, I could go to a stall of singing bowls, and some of them, and the guy will be like, "Oh, I'll show you," and I'm like, "No, it's not singing." And then I'll find one, and it works.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've done that. I've not changed the way I'm doing it. But it's that one.
It just goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened for me, and I did look at a few because obviously, as you can imagine, anybody and everybody wants to sell you the singing bowl in India. Of course they do. But this was the original, and I did end up going back to it. So, but what I really loved was, when you start to play, it actually, you can't hear this at the moment. I don't know if
it's getting there. That is beautiful.
With very little work. Doesn't need any effort.
And that's what I like, because you didn't hit it first.
No, I stopped it and then started.
Because that's the cheat You've got to have the stick on it,
yeah,
and you've got to go round
yeah.
and round. And if it sings, then it's your bowl.
It's yours, yeah.
Most people, to get you to buy it, they'll get you to tap it.
Tap
So you've
it
got the
and then do
vibration
it.
already,
Yeah,
and then you can play
yeah.
it. But yes, I like the way you did that, Suze. I was like, oh, no, it plays for her.
Yeah, absolutely. So I carried it around for 5 weeks in my backpack because it was my baby. You know,
Oh,
it's
I
one of
love
those things. But it's been everywhere. You know, I took it to Varanasi, which most people will know. You know, it's the ultimate spiritual place to be in India. Thoroughly amazing. So that's my singing bowl. And what happens when I work with a singing bowl as well is initially sounds and tones started coming through the voice, and then it kind of moved into more like, well, people say, I don't know because it just happens, but people say it's more like angelic tones. And then much later on, I received the guidance that the being that channels through is actually, you know, off-world energy. And she did give me a name of Alhora. Human, I'm a bit like this, you know, labels, and us humans like to sometimes have names, but you know, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. But she did give it to me, and the reason was because it was, when I researched it, it came down to being one. It was just one. So I thought, oh, that's beautiful. So the one energy comes through when she channels that higher frequencies, let's say, that come through the voice. So that was happening. And then from there, the light language started to come through. And then the penny dropped that actually, so when I got this information that she was an off-world being, it was like it's all started to fit together. Oh, okay, well, that's been happening a while. So I knew that was her. And then I'd had some channelings through the blue people. That's how I knew them as, and I wrote it all down as the blue people, which then, as we know, things unfold and little bits are dropped in, and it was like, oh, okay. So, you know, even more extra multi-dimensional energies and beings were channeling through. Noticeably, the Syrian energies, I get different ones through, but yeah, there's a multitude, which is what happens when the light language comes through, because sometimes it can feel a little bit discombobulated. I like that word.
I love that word.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah. But what I was told was that there are 18 different facets or different energy systems that are channeling through, so it can intermittently change. And not allow. See, what happens is, because we're human, and this happened when we allow the mind to kick in and start to question things, you know, it starts to go a bit awry. So it's about just allowing, you know, and trusting. And that was a hard one, actually.
Well,
yeah,
because it's got to be, because I mean, I've only just heard light language being spoken recently. There's another lady who I saw, and I must admit, when I saw it, I was thinking, what was that?
Yeah.
And then you touched on it last weekend, or the Oasis weekend. I mean, when that comes through to begin with, you must think, where's my psychiatrist?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where's my childhood shrink? I need to see them right now, because I'm getting this, and it's not.
It's weird.
Not my language. It's not up from this planet. So how,
Absolutely.
when? Just like
yes, all of those things. Yeah, you're quite right.
me.
What's happening, and what is that about? That's just. But the more I guess the more I sat with that, or tuned into that, and asked about it, the more guidance came through, and the more I started to feel. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not overly confident with that. I had to get me out of the way, in order for that to come through. But the thing is, the mind, it's all about the old programs, the thoughts and the belief systems that we're indoctrinated with, from being a child, to be honest. And it's only just now that we're, people are waking up, I'm going to say that, but they're realizing that there is so much more, that we're not just this physical vehicle. People have been saying this for ages, but more and more people are actually really finding, understanding, and moving into their multidimensionality, and it's wonderful. It really is wonderful.
And it's amazing the walks of life that these people have done, and where they've been, what they've done, and then they've turned their back on that because they've trusted. And it is that word, that trust, with the light language, with however it comes to you. And I say this to the people that come with crystals and they struggle to connect with the crystals. And I'm like, trust. When you trust that what that crystal is giving you is what it's giving you, it opens up more. Same with you with light language. That when you trust and we have the monkey brain, but we have the monkey body as well. When we take that body away and we're just left with our soul or spirit, then we're more open. We've surrendered. I'm here. I'm in service. What am I doing? And
it's your natural state of being, isn't it? We're putting to one side all of those programs and beliefs, because that's how we're raised. We're raised not to trust others. We're raised not to trust ourselves. And the more that I mean, all my kids have grown up now, but the more that we can instill in our children or grandchildren, that you are a beautiful, powerful, sentient being, that you can do this, not you can't do this and you shouldn't do this and don't trust anybody. And if we can come back to those values, which I think we're going to work towards.
Fear into them, putting that fear that, they can't even talk to people because we're creating this world, and it's like, no, let them create the world that they want to live in. Definitely with that. And with
fear
my
and control,
it's so much of what there is another side. Don't I mean, with the exams and everything that's coming up and stuff, it's like, hey, you know what, if you don't get to be Lord Alan Sugar, it's not the end of the world.
It's
you
not.
You can join me with a pair of harem pants and we can travel the world. Doesn't matter.
Awesome. It's about being happy and all of that, isn't it? But it
means a lot.
It's balance, really. So do you want me to say any more about the other little instruments that I got? So I think a lot of people know about tuning forks. They seem to be the in thing at the moment, don't they? So I don't know how this will compute.
Oh yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
you can hear it okay. So yeah, the tuning forks are lovely. Obviously, they're a much quieter sound, but that doesn't negate the actual intensity of the vibration. That one is the Om. So I'd like to work with, there's quite a few that I've got. I've gone with what felt right. And then also I've picked out ones that people might be aware of.
Is that the 528?
Yeah. Oh, you're good. Oh, yeah. So that's the 528. Lovely. So a lot of people work with that one as well, or are aware. Oh, is that yes, weighted. Is it a weighted 528?
Yeah.
I have a weighted on, but I have to say I don't use it very often because I think if you're putting on the body, I've tended to use that one, you know, so that you're
That's what I felt with the weighted is more on the physical.
Mm-hmm.
With the non-weighted, you work in the energy.
In the energy space, yeah. And then I'll give you a little, if I can do this. That sounds like a doorbell, doesn't it? We don't have to do them the other way around. I've been an Avon lady once. I tell you, I've done lots of things.
Hey, I've been an Avon man.
Have you?
Yeah.
So
I went on a date with some guy once.
Yeah.
And he only went like to try and sell me to get him to be an Avon representative. So like I was like, what? So I went with the flow with it, just so I could get what I could get from it.
Yeah.
And then I did it for about 2 weeks, encroached on someone's match. They weren't happy about it. And I went out of it, but yeah.
Oh, bless you.
These two work together.
So these two, I can work with them separately, but I do work with them together. So this one, I always get the words mixed up. So if I just tell you, they're two bespoke tuning forks. So I had these made. So I was the numbers were downloaded, and I was like, well, I don't know why numbers. Anyway, then it unfolded. There were frequencies for the tuning forks. So I had these two made. I think we've got Celestial Light and Infinite Peace. So this one's the Infinite Peace, and this is the Celestial Light. So this one is a higher frequency than the 528. And I asked about it because I took this information, got them made, and then did some research afterwards, because you've got to trust. And the information that came in with this one, this is the higher frequency than the 528, was that as we've moved forward in our energetic field, let's say, the resonance of this one was, for me, I would say, works better. So it brings a little bit extra, I'm going to say in simple language, it brings a little bit extra to that energy, that frequency of the 528. So it was like a little bit of a gear up, which is wonderful, and the information that came with it. And then even higher frequency, this is in the 700s, and this connects us to that celestial place. So connects us back to that oneness, back to however you want to see that, you know, the cosmos, the Godhead, you know, that infinite place. So that's just a couple of them. I've got some very lovely tree forks as well, which I've worked with the trees. So that's, you know, that's really good too. Yes. I can't remember what I've got. I'd have to get them up again, but I've got 3 that I've worked with. The beach is definitely one that I've worked with. I don't think I've got the Rowan. Anyway, I think, yeah. So From there, then also, apart from other things, the koshi chimes. So I don't know whether you've heard any of these.
No. Oh, very fairy language.
They're beautiful. So I have 4 of these, and they're the 4 elements. So we've got that one's fire. So we've got fire. Do you want to hear the others, or I don't know about time, or
do we want to hear the others, guys?
Yeah, just
do we want
ask
to
the
hear
questions.
The others? Absolutely, it's a yes for me.
Shall I? You haven't got any questions yet, then?
No questions yet. People are loving.
Yeah. So that's the air.
Ooh, that was there.
That's air. When you think about, if you use the mind, not that we should, but it's a higher kind of vibration, so it feels lighter, so it takes you into the air. Okay. Do you want to guess?
I know.
What element is that one? Seeing as you're so good.
Earth?
No.
Oh, I didn't want to say water because that was my element is water. Is that water?
That was water. And I love that one. And I am a water sign. So in fact, I've not drowned yet, but I have a lot of water in my chart. But enough. Yeah.
I'm a Pisces Cancerian.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my sun, my moon is Piscean, and my ascending is Cancerian.
Oh, so I've got Scorpio sun and Pisces moon, but I have a Leo ascendant, which, yeah. It's coming useful sometimes.
I bet it has. Yeah, I bet it has.
So this is the Earth. Yeah. Really lovely, isn't it? Yeah. So they're really special, I think. And, people that receive those frequencies feel that, it elevates them somewhat. So, yeah, I really like them too. Yeah.
If you've got any questions at all for this beautiful lady, please do put them in the box and I will put them up for her to answer. She's here and she is willing to answer any of your questions. So please do ask some. I love those.
Yeah. They're really lovely. And when you put all of, I mean, there's more tools. I mean, I love the healing pipes as well. I like to work with the Om pipe and again the 528. But when you're in a session and all of the different frequencies and sounds, especially like one-to-one or a group, and you're just relaxing, and all of this takes place around you and within you, and all that beautiful sound and frequencies wash over you. It's just beautiful. And when people come back around, let's say after a group session, it's amazing to see how people are. They're just in this beautiful space, that's been created by these sacred tools, and working with them. And the feedback is just amazing, and everybody has their own personal experience. But yeah, it's nice to hear that it makes that difference to people, and it's just amazing to be able to be part of that, and yeah. So we've got questions.
Yeah. So
Yay.
Hilary Stanley.
Yes. Hello, Hilary.
Have you thought of making a crystal or metal chime?
Oh, metal
or is
chime.
there to go with the elements? Is there a crystal and a metal frequency?
Okay. So I know that there are metal chimes, crystal and metal as elements. Oh, I see. Yeah, not made out of them. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Yes, that's something to think about, isn't it? Yeah. I guess, would you put a frequency to different types of crystal? Would you? I mean, because you work with the tuning forks as well, don't you, Dan? So would that be something that you would do? Would you know that tuning in with a crystal would give you its frequency or element? Yeah,
I have been given numbers. I have been given numbers, but yeah, I'm stepping away from that.
Okay.
But definitely, I mean, obviously the main thing would be to get the frequency of clear quartz.
Yeah.
And
that would be amazing.
The crystal chime, and finding the metal.
Yeah.
And getting the chime for that.
To be honest, there could be something out there that relates to a quartz crystal, let's say, because obviously I would imagine that because each crystal has got different properties, hasn't it? It's going to have a slightly different frequency.
Yeah,
of course. But so I guess if you were taking an element of crystal, so if you had like two more koshi chimes and we had a crystal one, what crystal would it be?
That's isn't it?
Would it be the quartz? That's I guess a possibility. But there are many. There are lots of sacred instruments out there. Mine are just a snapshot, probably, of what people use. Different people like different things, or are called to work with different things. Take for instance, Seeker and Tall Paul that works with the didgeridoo and all the different things that Seeker works with as well. The indigenous tools, isn't it? The name of the chimes are koshi, which is KOSHI. Koshi.
Just put that in the comments.
Can you put it in, or do you want me to put it in?
No, I've done it.
Okay.
I've done it.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So quartz is the most common and versatile, so would be a good start.
Yeah.
Shadi says, no questions, but loving listening to her and all her beautiful instruments.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Shadi. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mr. Moody, crystals are used in watches as their frequency is constant. So, quartz is used there. So, that constant. Yeah. We might have to think of something along those lines.
Definitely.
But and talking about the crystals and their energies, because I work more with them on the chakras. And for the final bit tonight is just to delve into the 5D.
Okay, cool.
Because it has been mentioned a lot, and I get people saying to me, "Do you understand it?" And the only way I understand it is through working with the chakras, with the crystals. And for me, the 7 main chakras are my 3D chakras.
Yeah.
And then when I go higher there's the 4th D, and then I go up to the Divine Gateway, which is 5D, the way
Yeah.
that I kind of assemble that.
Yeah. So do you mean that you working with your soul star chakra then, and your earth star chakra as well?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I work with 7 high chakras and 7 main
Okay.
chakras.
Yeah.
So in the high chakras, yeah, we've got the Earth Star. Then I
Which
bring
is
in the
down.
higher half as well.
Yeah.
Then the Soul Star, Spirit Chakra, Universal, Galactic, and then the Divine Gateway.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lovely.
then
Yeah.
I segregate them
Yeah.
into 4D and then the 5D.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you want me to just chat
Yeah.
about it?
So, if
Yeah.
there's anything.
If anybody's got any questions about it, obviously
Yeah,
we're
if
quite happy
anyone
to
else
go
has
there.
got any questions, because it is quite like, oh, okay. Do we go there, or is it just an awakening? Is it, how do we get there? What?
Well, first of all, I feel that it's not a destination. It's a transformation. It is an awakening, I feel, and it's a transformative process. I believe that, obviously we can talk about the earth, but we can talk about us as human beings as well on this earth. I feel that in order to be, our third dimensional life, let's say, is the physicality of where we're at. So we talk about 3D, don't we? Third dimensional reality, what's going on, being here in the body, etc. We're talking about moving into the 5th dimension, which we know to be, I'm going to say a lighter energy, but it is a lighter energy because it's not about the denseness of being in the 3rd dimension. It's more about who we really are. And so it is more about energy. So we're coming away from that density of being in the physical body, and we're moving further, onward really, or back to, in a way, our original blueprint of being in a higher dimension. Obviously, to get to that, because I think somebody said previously, whether it was at Oasis or somewhere else, about going through the 4th dimension. It is that bridge, let's say, but I feel that this process is happening, whether we're aware of it, conscious of it, or being involved with it. It's happening anyway. This is a process that's going to happen anyway. I also believe that the more people that have an awareness of this, I try not to do the cliche words really, but you can't help it, because if it's language that people understand, so the more that we're talking and thinking about moving into a different aspect and a different dimension, the more of us that have that, an awareness and openness to our multidimensionality. So that means looking at the infinite possibilities of who and what we really are. The more people that are on that page, the more, because we know about a collective, the more helpful it is to guide us through, let's say. We know, it is something very simple, in the power of prayer. Prayer is very profound at times when we do it on a collective. Miracles occur, don't they? So if we're showing that way as well by being that person, so we're coming back to being the authentic self, stripping away that which no longer serves us, being authentic self, recognizing what's going on, uncovering, unfolding, however you want to see that. And while we're moving forward with that, also helping other people to start to become more aware of that as well. So as we're doing that, we're recognizing that we're stripping away all those layers of that we've been programmed with, and so we're just moving into that paradigm. We're saying, you know, we understand that paradigm no longer serves us. You know, it is old thoughts, beliefs, emotions, indoctrinations, all of that which has been thrown at us, really fed at us, to make us who we are, and we're stripping all that away. We're looking to find, who are we? You know, what are we about? So we're looking at energy. We've got science that backs up, you know, the energy as well, if we want to choose to, you know, delve into that. But I feel that we say that we're moving energetically, we're creating that shift, but I believe that we're already there. I feel that, you know, Gaia, the earth herself, is already, she is a fifth dimensional entity that chose to I'm going to say lower that vibration to the third dimension, so that we as humans can have this experience, have this experiment. You know, we know that experiments have gone on before. The world has changed over and over and over again over millennia, and no doubt it will continue to. But we're working towards that quantum space where we're able to drop those layers, become that energetic being, in order to connect with those energetic beings that are just there anyway, you know, whether you want to call them otherworldly entities or energies. And yeah, I don't know if I've explained all that.
You,
okay.
You have. And Hillary, she's commented, great explanation.
Bless you.
And
Thank
absolutely,
you.
Yeah, because it is, obviously we do deal with different levels of humans. And so for some people, they're waiting for that mothership to come to beam them up and to take them.
Yeah,
destination.
It's not that, it isn't a destination, and it's not outside of us, is it? You know, we know this. It's the inner work that's most important right now.
Yeah.
And by doing that inner work, that's when we're stripping back everything that's been, you know, we are a diamond. We've had this pasted on throughout the years. We're cleaning up, polishing. Yeah, we're polishing that diamond. We have all these multi-dimensional facets that we probably haven't got a clue about, or we're just starting to uncover. And the other thing that I'd like to say, oh, thank you, Pauline, I can see, is that, you know, wherever you are in life, whatever paradigm you're in, whatever your belief system is, it's not wrong. It's not right and it's not wrong. It just is, you know. And therefore, I feel that we have to honour people where they're at. And there will be people that say, oh, I don't agree with that, or that doesn't resonate with me, or I feel this. And I would say, you go with what feels right for you through your experience, because that's your personal experience. You know, we are individuals here to do whatever we're here to do. We are all connected. We are all part of that collective. But, you know, that old saying about walking in another man's moccasins, until you've done that, you know, we are where we are. And I don't believe in a hierarchy.
No.
It's not a race. It's not a game.
No.
We are where we're at. Yeah.
And to try and influence someone into where you're at, they still might have to go through something to get to where you're at. So to try and influence them,
giving
them a huge chunk of a learning lesson or something that they'll need to get there. So
Yeah.
absolutely, I love that no one is right, no one is wrong. We are exactly where we're meant to be.
We need to be. Any given now moment, we're exactly where we need to be. Whether our mind is telling us we've just made the wrong decision or we've just made the right decision, I believe that we can always choose different anyway. But it is, for me, it is about trusting that unfolding, if you like, or that process. And yes, honouring where people are at, you know, just because we read something in a book or we listen to a speaker, it might resonate with us, it might not, but it's somebody else's perspective. And what I find is if you can take something, they're like little seeds, really, I guess. If you can take something and it makes a difference to you, or whether it helps you understand something or it starts you to question something, whatever it is, surely that's a good thing, you know, because you doing your own inquiry, inner, hopefully first, and or outer, you know, then you know that you're going to get to where you need to be. That's why I love working with the sound tools and helping and then inspiring other people to grab that back, because it is about personal responsibility. It's about saying, okay, I am responsible for me. And that's it, not anybody else, but I am responsible for me. And if I can do that in the right way for me and heartfully, then I feel that I'm doing the right thing, and my action then in this world is right action. And you know, we're humans, so we are here to experience all sorts of things. We've all had some pretty traumatic things happen, haven't we? I know I have.
You certainly have. You certainly have, and that is it. When you've been through that and you come out with that word trust, you know, and you can still trust, then geez Melise, you know, you are a strong person. And I mean, what you've, you know, recently and what you know, and you are still here, you're on your 2 feet and you trust, and that has got to be admired.
It's a big thing, and I think, you know, surrendering, you know, I did have to surrender. I mean, for you know, I don't want to go into things, but you know, I had to leave a very dire situation in a relationship. I had to escape, and in doing that, I was safe, yes, but it rendered me homeless. So I was homeless for about 6 months, and in that time, I completely surrendered. So, I mean, I did mention earlier on, didn't I? So, you know, I at that point I was I had 2 websites running. Obviously, I was trying to do the Celebrant side of life and the Rainbow Suzy, which has been around for yonks. But I gave up. And even when a friend of mine was saying, "Oh, well, you'll be okay. We'll get you on your, you know, what you normally do," and that will, to me, that felt I had to honor where I was at, because if I've been in receipt of a certain situation, what is my part in that situation? Where within me do I need to look? Where do I need to work some stuff out, do some healing, do some processing? And I knew that I could not put a sticking plaster on that. It was time to strip. So I've been through that process. I've stripped back. I'm not saying we're ever done, believe me. I think it's all a journey, but I've stripped back the layers. We've all been through things, you know, our pain is our pain. We've all been through things and are continuing to. But I truly, absolutely believe that when we come from a place of gratitude, so even when you're homeless and bereft and broken, to find gratitude for nature, which is a massive thing for me now. So that's my path. Friendships, love, support, a sofa, a floor, you know, the practical side as well. When you can find gratitude in that, then you can climb your way up and back out of any, you know, any of those feelings that bring you to that place, you know, whether it's depression or whatever you're feeling, pain, trauma, all of those things, you know. And if you work with gratitude, as I like to in life, you rise like the phoenix out of the ashes, you know. And Dan, I look round where I'm at now in life, you know. I'm a whole 18 months down the line, and I have my home, you know. I've got a little sanctuary. I've been very blessed. It's not going to be taken away from me. It's not going to, you know, I'm not responsible for anybody else but myself, and of course the doggy now. But when you're grateful for those things, so instead of me thinking, well, I'm a year down the line now and he adjusts and I don't have any carpets yet. But
it's not. It's those small things. It's changing the park bench for a proper bed. It's you know, instead of looking at the night sky, as lovely as it is, and I love looking at the night sky, it's nice to look at a ceiling as well. And that's the changes. Forget the carpet. They're going to come. You know, they will.
It's kind of,
It's having that thing called yours.
Yeah. And it's just gratitude for the smallest things, you know. And like I said about nature, nature held me. Nature fast-tracked life, because I don't know if you know, a few people do. I lived in the forest for about 6 months with the trees, totally in the forest. And that fast-tracked life, it was a massive wake-up call, as my third dimensional life was on the floor. My spiritual, or my fifth dimensional life was way off scale when a lot of stuff was happening. But it showed me, nature showed me massively and loved me in that process. So taking nature forward is a very big thing for me. And I really feel that my work forward with the sounds, but also with nature. So a nature-based therapy and forest bathing, the Shinrin Yoku, the Japanese way of being out in nature, is going to be a very big part of my forward life, and the trees.
That is nice. And that's and that's nice to like look at, because it's where I normally do end up tailing, is, you know, what is in store for that person next. And so in store for you is nature and taking that forward.
Nature, well, with the vibration, but again, it's still vibrational, you know, being out in nature. But I really connect on a feeling level, as a lot of people do, but with nature. And I would like people to, if they choose, you know, to I would like to help them reconnect with nature, because it opens so many doors. Not just bringing relaxation, obviously, and helping us feel better, because nature does that. It doesn't think about it, it just does it for us, you know, especially the trees. So I would like to take people out into nature, as a one-to-one or group, and help them really soulfully, deeply connect with the elements of nature, and what that brings for them, because it opened, like I said, it opens so many doors. brings, you know, so much well-being as well. And people forget, you know, and I said to somebody the other day, it's a little bit different to going for a walk, you know, just trotting along. Yes, you've got the trees around you, and, you know, you might have a little bit of a lake there or whatever, and you're walking along, and that's great. But do you actually feel that space? Do you actually stop? Do you smell? I'm not talking about the roses, but do you smell that tree? Do you, what can you hear when you listen to the ground? It is amazing, you know, talking to the trees, listening to what they've got to say. Yes, working with sound with them is amazing, especially the folks, but really immersing yourself and feeling it, you know. So
I
very
like
passionate
that.
about that. Sorry.
No, absolutely. No, you let it. And yeah, I think a group of people, definitely, that sounds amazing, Susie. And that's what it is. It's about taking those times and seeing how you can turn them into a positive and work with them and incorporate that into the future.
Yeah,
Because it is important never to forget where we've come from.
absolutely.
Always remembering that root, that seed, where everything we have now enabled us to come from. So, yeah. Shardy, she loves listening to a tree's heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, trees are just amazing. And I think, you know, whenever I step out into nature, I mean, as some of you might have seen, you know, the light language, so the songs that can come through, or, you know, meditations, which if anybody's interested, I pop on the YouTube channel. Sometimes put things out on Facebook. But the things that can be channeled through are just awesome, just amazing. And, you know, even I can remember a while ago, you're working with the tuning folks with the trees. And it was a really profound experience. And I was working, I think it was with the beach. And I chose to work on one. And in that small area of where I was, just briefly, in that small area, working on the route that was coming out onto the land, with the tuning fork, then just really sitting and feeling. And what happened was, I could hear the tree singing. So who just said about the heartbeat? Shardy. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I could hear it singing, and could hear its frequency, and I was blown away. And then what happened was, I didn't realize until I actually came out of it and got up, but there were 5 trees. But what happened was this: I could see the sound waves and the energy moving through the roots, and then intertwining with the next tree, and that was singing, and the next, and the next, and there was 5, and there were 5 when I stood up, and then I looked, obviously, you know, and there were 5 beech trees, and they were all connected. And just by working with that one tree, had helped me understand and listen to and tune in with that vibration that then turned into that song was in those 5 trees. And it was just absolutely amazing.
That is
yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. So to help, you know, to be a little bit of a conduit to help other people tune in to however that is for them, like Shardy said about the heartbeat, you know, whether that sounds like a heartbeat to Shardy, or whether it sounds like a tune, or we don't know, because I don't know whether she can share that if she's still around, but you know, it can be that for somebody, and it can be something different, you know, for somebody else. So excuse me, it's not wrong. None of it's wrong. It just is, you know. So however somebody would sit with that energy and what they feel. It's not about this or that, but it's about that connection. It's about that reconnection, like you were saying, with the earth, with all that is, and also, you know, with our cosmos. So allowing, again, back into the channeling, allowing that to come in. And we do know that because of where we're at energetically, that it's getting easier. You know, people talk about the veil being thin. I know that's a bit of a cliche word, but especially coming up, you know, towards the end of the month as well. Let's not get on astrology and all of that, but you know, look out.
Yeah, it will be there. It's the end of the month. Oh,
Halloween, isn't it? 31st is
and it's a
bit of a knockout day. Yeah.
So it's
knockout day to yeah.
Oh, is there any more questions for this beautiful soul before we let her enjoy the rest of her Saturday evening? It's so nice to. Oh, Shadia's just come back.
Okay, my love.
Okay, so it sounded like a heartbeat with my head on the tree. It's slow and irregular, but there and responded to me and my energy.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So tuning in with that tree is just, and that's right. It's got to be right because it's your experience, Shadi, you know. But you know, I would say play with that now, you know. Go and tune in with other things as well. You know, how about a rock?
Yes.
Now that will open up some questions. But anything, you know, anything and everything. Tune in with different things and see what you feel. And like I said, it's right. You know, what you feel, what you sense. You take that time to do that. And all we've got to do is get this mind out of the way, because that's what we do. We question it.
We do.
Oh, that can't be right. That's not its heartbeat, is it? That's not da. And it's like, no, just trust. Just trust that what you're receiving.
The word is trust.
Yeah. Thank you, my lovely.
Oh, she's cuddling a rock now. She's a bit of a crystal addict. So yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, obviously, when I said rocks, obviously crystals, you're going to feel definitely that vibration and tuning in, and you know, however one works with crystals, you know. But the rocks that are just on the beach, or you know, out in nature, not particular. You know, obviously we know about standing stones and, you know, sacred places. Obviously, they all have a vibration, but just, you know, your normal, ordinary pebble that may just be calling to you as you're walking on the beach. I remember I could go on, but I won't. I can remember sitting on the giant steps in Ireland. That was something else. If you've seen that, or anybody that hasn't seen it, just have a quick Google, have a look for it. But oh my, tuning into those rocks, and I mean they're pretty ancient. They've got a story to tell. But yeah, tune in with everything because you can. Yeah.
Tune into what you can and do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Suzy, I don't want to wrap this up.
We have to, yes.
I want you to enjoy your evening, because thank you.
I have, darling. I have. It's been lovely. Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody that joined as well. Yeah, thank you.
Please give a huge appreciation to Suzy, because you know it's a lot to ask people to give up their time to come on air and to share their passions and their walk of life. And it's been an amazing evening. It's been so nice to reconnect with you, and you know, you're just incredible, and definitely trust, you know, trust, full of integrity and I love that about you.
Thank you.
Hilary Stanley, thank you, Suzy.
Oh,
It's been lovely to listen your talk again. Beautiful.
oh, thank you, Hilary. Bless you.
Beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Adam. What a lovely evening.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you, Shadi. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzy and Dan.
Oh, Carolyn. Thank you. And
You,
Pauline. Thank you. And
Dawn.
Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you. That was
And
very
Caroline.
good.
Thank
And,
you.
and that is it, because I have had a brief discussion with you about this. Because it's nice to have you guys coming on here, giving your time as a little introduction into who you are. Taking this forward is to do a Zoom evening with these special guests and having an evening with the special guest where we can share our gifts. Obviously, there'll be an exchange in energy, but where you could come on and do something to share with us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That is something that we've got in the pipeline to come on board, because obviously with Facebook, we're out there for anyone and everyone. So I don't want people to give their gifts to unknowingly. Whereas if we took this further to a Zoom, then we can actually then see people and know where our energy is directed toward. And nice thing there. Yes, Hilary, and Hilary, you are as well. You are on there as well. You are going to be one of the ladies I would like for you to share your gift with. So yeah, so
fantastic. Sounds great.
This won't be the last we see of Suzy for us rockers. We will have her on. I have got her banner. That's her website, Pauline. And then you are on Facebook. Is it just your personal page?
I'm on. It is a personal page, but I do have it's Suzy Grace Sound Sorceress as a kind of business page. I tend not to, I mean, obviously I've seen people and names come up. If somebody wants to connect with me, if they'd like to just drop me a message, I tend not to say yes to everybody, because, you know, it is partly personal page as well. So I'm quite happy for people to connect with me that way. On YouTube, so if you put my name in, you'd find me, or if you put me into Google, I think you can still find me, Suzy Grace Galadriel, and also LinkedIn, but you know, that's there's a profile on there as well. But I think all of the details, my phone number and details, are on the website as well. So yeah, if anybody's got anything that they'd, and people can ask all sorts of stuff, ask the panel or team.
Well, I think Hilary wants a group of us to go on and people can ask a panel of people.
Okay, right.
Okay, that might be interesting. Bring in a team. We'll think of that. The Avengers.
Think of that one.
So yeah, Suzy is around there, and absolutely anything that we've just touched on, but you want to expand on, then contact Suzy. And if Suzy's sitting there and going, right, okay, there's some people here. If she comes to me and goes, Dan, what do you think? Then I'll be like, yes, let's get this workshop. Let's get people on Zoom. And then Suzy can present that to you guys rather than trying to get you individually through Messenger. Today, me and Hilary were texting, and Hilary writes paragraphs in seconds. I write paragraphs in hours. So in the end, I turned around, I was like, do you want a video chat? Because it's so easy to do things face to face.
Yeah, it's nice as well. Yeah.
So if you feel that people are messaging and you think, right, okay, let's do a Zoom thing.
Yeah.
And if people connect with Suzy with that, then we'll do that, and we'll get people together and, you know, kill 10 birds with one stone.
Well, we won't kill them off.
No, there will be no public sacrifices.
We'll have a lovely immersion with something. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it out there for next year and see what
fantastic. That would be lovely. I'd be honoured. Thank you.
Fantastic, Suzy. I'm going to drop you down.
Yeah,
and
cool.
you're welcome just to leave. And I'm just going to tie up the evening and end this. So
bless you. Thank you. Lots of love to you all, to you both, and everybody. Take care. See you soon.
Have a good one.
Bless you. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. Oh, she's amazing. And it's so nice to see her again. And yeah, and no doubt as well, she'll be popping up as a regular on the Oasis weekend as well. But yeah, just, you know, people that we've had on with special guests, I know we've had plenty, but if there are people that you want to see in a workshop style where we actually do something, then, you know, just let me know and I'll get in touch with these lovely people and we'll get a Zoom room up and we'll go from there. So yeah, this is us for this week because tomorrow's Sunday. We're having a day off. I need to recover from my aches and pains. But then Monday, we won't be here as such because we're going to be on Zoom on Monday. It's our first circle for spiritual protection. That is going to be on Monday evening at 7 o'clock. There is an event page set up for that. There is an exchange of £3 to join us. We will be working through a meditation to begin with, then a discussion about spiritual protection. And it's invited to everybody. I'm not going to be sitting there telling you guys how to spiritually protect. We are having a discussion. How should we spiritually protect? What do you use to spiritually protect? What doesn't work for you? When do you use it? How often? Questions galore. Bring them to the Zoom chat. And then I will guide you into a meditation at the end to meet a power animal that will hopefully come to you to help you in protection. So that's going on Monday. And then Wednesday is our usual market day at 7 o'clock. Thursday is UK Serenity Radio, which is Crystal Cornucopia, which is my show. And next week, we're talking about frog. The common frog and chrysoprase is the crystal I'm talking about with frog. And then Friday is our communal quiz. We've not got a special guest next Saturday because we're hoping to go off and meet up with our friend Karen, who we have not seen since like forever. So we're hoping next weekend we're going to meet up with her, and trust me, it will take all weekend for us to have a chat. So yeah, we're not going to be on Facebook much next week because most of it is going to be on Zoom, but most things will be back to normal the following week. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. And if you have purchased the for the Zoom on Monday night, please make sure you have been invited to our private group. Okay, I was keeping initials on the event page of the people that have paid, and I have set up a private group for those people because I'll be putting the Zoom link onto there. So if you have and you're not in that group, let me know and I will add you to that because my brain isn't the strongest of my body. But yeah, have a good one, guys, and I'll see you all soon.